All right, Shalom. First thing and foremost, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. The double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And peace, blessings, and salutations to you, hopefully elect out there. And just through the spirit back once again, to touch on this subject real quick, dealing with World War III and what it means for us. All right. Those of us of the hopefully elect, you know, because this is something that I meditate on quite often, you know, when it comes to, because scriptures talk about how we're prisoners of hope, and you know, roughly paraphrasing, how when we are at our lowest, and we think we're about to tap out, we think that we just don't got what it takes to do it anymore. The Heavenly Father, he comes through, because in those moments, that's when Yahweh Shema Shai, that's when he shows forth his power, you know, and it should be a faith booster to us, in those moments, because, hey, we're in a time now where we ought to be expecting the miracles, but with that being said, if you're in a position where you expect a miracle, that means you're going to be in a position to where you're going to need a miracle. We're going to be in position. That means we're going to be in a position to where we're going to have to need a miracle, man. Because more and more every day that goes by, it's just one day closer to that straight gate. We're coming into that straight gate. But Lord willing, again, the Heavenly Father, He's been dealing with us and prepping us. He's showing us, right? He's showing us that He's with us in our different trials and tribulations. So that way, when that day comes, all right, going back to, circling back to the topic at hand, World War III, what it entitles, what it means, and what it means for us. Because a lot of people, when a topic of World War III comes up, they automatically think, people tend to be afraid. They tend to get nervous because of what World War III, what it could entail, what it means. Because like the scriptures say, there was a time where wars were fought with battle axes, shields and bucklers and things of that nature. But this third world's war, or this third world's war, is going to consist of fuel of fire. All right, meaning, hey, it's going to be nuclear at some point. It's going to get nuclear. And with that being said, with these weapons of so-called mass destruction, it'll basically take us back, hypothetically speaking, if the Lord allowed it to play out the way that Esau wants it to play out. These so-called weapons of mass destruction would be, they would take us back to the Stone Ages. And that's what people are afraid of. That when people think of World War III and what it entails, that's what they think about. All right. Ultimately, it going nuclear, which it will go nuclear. All right. But again, this is why we ought to not fret. We don't have nothing to worry about, because again, World War III, what it entails for us, hey, that's just the start of the beginning. World War III, it's just the start of the beginning, because again, hypothetically speaking, when it goes nuclear, because it is going to go nuclear, but when it goes nuclear, again, what people think will take place is we're just going to be living in this dystopian type setting, this post-apocalyptic setting, like what they show in the movies and whatnot. All right. And, and from there, Esau thinks that he's just going to reign and rule right? He's gonna rise from the he's gonna be that phoenix to rise from the ashes, and just, from there, their new world order will be established, and so on and so forth. And that's what, again, this is what people think is actually going to happen when World War III takes place. Well, I should say in the height of World War III. All right, because basically, if you're paying attention to prophecy, man, we're already in World War III. All right, it's just not to that point yet. All right, because right now, it's more so pushing and shoving. A lot of provocation. A lot of people provoking one another. Eventually, it's going to lead to fists being blown. Eventually. And then eventually, hey, the hammer's going to drop. Eventually, the nukes are going to start flying. Eventually, it's going to get to that point. But again, to the hopefully elect, we have nothing to worry about, because when it gets to that point to where the nukes are going to start flying, when the nukes do start flying, all right, hey, for the hopefully elect, hey, that's the beginning. That's the real. That's like the scriptures describe as the scriptures talk about the dawning. Let me see if I can find that real quick, because again, in the height of World War III, all right. When I say the height of World War III, again, when those nukes get shot, right, it's going to usher in the second coming of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, all right, which Yahweh Shai, this is when he's going to make his second return, all right. And with that being said, it's going to be a day of just, for these people, a day of weeping, gnashing of teeth. There's going to be a lot of chaos, confusion, a lot of death, killing, right? But for the hopefully elect, hey, because it's going to be, and the Lord willing, just got a few precepts on mine. But I'm going to get this real quick in Isaiah 43. I'm going to start at verse 1. But now thus saith the Lord that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel, fear not. And Yahweh Shemel Shai throughout the scriptures is constantly just reiterating the fact that, hey, don't worry about it. Don't worry about nothing, man. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about nothing. I got you. And when the Heavenly Father is constantly reiterating how we've got nothing to worry about, it's never a thing of doubt. Like, hey, I don't know. No, man, the Lord, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna look out for you. Just don't worry about it. Right? It says, fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name. Thou art mine. And this was going to take place, again, in the height of World War III, when those red buttons get pressed. All right. Yahweh Shai is coming to redeem his elect. I did a video last week, a little, what do you call it? Like a little snippet or whatever, of, this one Jake, he did a video just going into the Heavenly Father, right? Well, basically the video, it consisted of Yahweh Shai pacing back and forth. He, as if he's waiting on something, as if he's waiting, which he is waiting. Yahweh Shai is sitting in the heavens, and he's patiently waiting, right, to collect that which belongs to him, to redeem his elect, right? Because like I said here at the end, it said, thou shalt not be burned or slacked. That's verse 2. Verse 1, it says, I have called thee by thy name, or slakia. I'm going to read verse 1 again, Isaiah 43 and 1. But now thus saith the Lord that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel. Fear not, for I have redeemed thee. All right. I have called thee by thy name. Thou art mine. And again, that's what Yahushua is coming to do. He's coming to collect that which belongs to him. His precious jewels. All right. The precious jewels of the Heavenly Father. You see, the redeemed of Yahweh Shemel Shai. That's what Yahweh is coming to do. He's coming to collect. Right? The different, those that are scattered, the elect that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. That's what Yahushua is coming to do, because hey, without Yahushua, man, we have absolutely no chance, no hope. And like I said in the beginning, everything that we've been going through, because we've been given all these pop quizzes, because we're coming into the time of the ultimate test. We're coming to the time of the test. We've been given all these little pop quizzes, but we're coming into the time, that moment of the test. Because hey, when it's all said and done, again, it's going to be a narrow escape. Again, it's not called the straight gate for no reason. It's going to be tight. Those missiles, man, once they get shot, as they go into the atmosphere, into the heavens, and as they come back down to earth, hey, some of us, it's not going to look good. I'm going to just say it. It's not going to look good for us. For some of us, maybe a lot of us, maybe all of us, it's not going to look good for us, because those missiles, man, they're going to be coming down, and it's just going to be like, man, shit, man, I could just, speaking as a man, I could just picture, like, because, again, this is what we're experiencing now. Like, certain things happen to us, and it's almost like, man, it's just like the spirit just leaves your body, man. It's just like, man, because at one point, when we're newer in this faith, things happen. And again, we're newer in the faith, so it's just like, oh my God, like a baby, because that's one thing about a babe, a newborn babe, everything's new to a baby. So with that being said, this is why, for the most part, babies, they cry about everything. It could be too hot, it could be too cold, right? Well, every new experience is new to a newborn babe. So, and a baby, they're used to being comfortable, being in the womb. They're used to being comfortable. So when they come out and they're in the flesh and they have to experience, life. Again, every new experience is every experience is a new experience. So that's why, like I said, every little thing you see, you see babies, they cry about everything because everything's new, right? So likewise, again, when we're in this truth, when we're newer in this truth, and we're freshly babes, freshly newborn, straight out the womb, so to say, everything's just like, oh my God, we're just crying and like, why me? But as we grow in this truth, we learn to there's a level of maturity, but hey, as we always say, because it's easier said than done, and it's still at some point, because the Lord, every now and then, he'll hit you with something new, and it's like those curveballs that the Lord throws, man. It's just like, damn, it's just like, it's almost like your spirit just leaves your body, and it's just like, this might be the one to take me out, man. I can't do this one, Lord. I can't, But hey, yes, you can. Yes, we can. But nevertheless, just say all that to say that how, hey, the Lord, He's dealing with us now. He's showing us these things now because, like I said, when the time comes, hey, it's just for the most part, man, it's not gonna be new to us. It's not gonna be new to us. It's just gonna be one of those things, man. I can imagine, like, man, all right, I gotta go through this. It's the Lord's will. But fast forward into going back to those missiles. When we see those missiles come, because again, this is gonna be a day of panic, chaos. This is gonna be a day of like, man, what the no show, just a lot of emotion, anxiety, panic. As those missiles are going up, everyone, I just pictured everyone just getting those text alerts. This is going to be breaking news worldwide. China, North Korea, Russia, everyone shot their missiles, right? America, everyone shot their missiles. Everyone pressed those red buttons. Missiles got shot from those silos. And according to prophecy, once those missiles get shot from those silos, it's going to be like an arrow from his bow. Once you shoot that bow, once you see the arrow from his bow, you can't retract that arrow. You can't call those, you can't call it back. So once those missiles get shot from those silos, man, it's just going to be like, oh, shit. And you know what it reminds me of? For those that, what's the movie called? I was I was a kid when I watched this movie, and I again, because a lot of brothers are in my age group, so they know. But there's one movie, it's an animation. It's the Iron Giant. For those that remember the Iron Giant, And I remember watching this movie like, oh, like I remember watching this movie like this was real life. You know, I remember watching that movie like it was real life. That moment where they were basically, if my memory serves me correctly, I remember in that movie, The Iron Giant. I probably have to watch it again. I gotta watch it again. You know, for me, it was a favorite growing up. The Iron Giant. All right. Matter of fact, let me just pull it up real quick and just in case, for those that don't know. So yeah, this is pretty much what the movie looks like. You know, I'm trying to get a still of it. So that's pretty much what the movie looks like. All right. That's pretty much what the movie looks like. Right. And like I said, it's, for me personally, it's a favorite because I remember the particular scene towards the end. You know, if my memory serves me correctly, because everyone was trying so hard not to. And this was just, if I could be wrong, but this one missile, right? Everyone was trying to prevent this one missile, you know, because everyone was on edge. They were on the verge of shooting this missile to basically destroy this Iron Giant, right? And they didn't want to do it, but long story short, you know, they ended up shooting this missile off, and the tension, right? The gravity of what just took place, like we really just shot one of these missiles off, you know? And again, I got to watch the movie again, but I don't remember if it was an IB missile, ICBM missile. But nevertheless, it was some sort of missile, you know? And they didn't want to shoot that missile, but they ended up shooting that missile off, and the panic, the fear, the gravity of what just happened. What did we just do, right? And I remember watching that scene as if it was happening in real life, and I was terrified. I remember this as a kid. I'm watching that movie, watching that particular scene, and I was scared. Like, what if this happens in real life? You know? And again, just on a man, just again, in that day, you can imagine the fear once those missiles get shot from those silos, from all these nations. We can imagine the fear, the panic, the gravity of what just happened. What's going on right now? Emergency broadcasts everywhere, because this will be a worldwide event. Because majority of those missiles, they're going to hit here in America, Babylon. And again, this goes back, again, you know, circling it back to the title at hand, all right, World War III, and what it means for us, you know, because, hey, we're going to be here, you know, hopefully that we're going to be here when those missiles get shut off, all right, however it plays out, because I imagine, you know, we're not going to have cell phones, but, you know, the internet's going to be down or whatever, but somehow we're going to know that, hey, those missiles, hey, you know, we're going to see those missiles going up in the air. We're probably going to hear the sirens going off, right? The whole 9 yards, right? And this is going to be one of those things like, oh shit. And a small example of that oh shit moment, hey, going back to 2020, you know, where a lot of us, we thought this was it. We thought this was it. Back in 2020, when those lockdowns or shutdowns, you know, now I wasn't following Great Millstone at the time, but, you know, the brothers tell me the story, you know, all the time, you know, from the camp, you know, they you know, tell the story often about how, hey, well, I'm not going to say story, but the account, you know, because this Bible, these scriptures, you know, pursuing the Romans 15 and 4, hey, these things were written for our learning. They were written for us to learn from. So they're not stories. They're actual accounts. So, you know, the brothers from the camp, when, you know, they talk about often the account of how, hey, going back to 2020, when they thought this was, because they were still downtown teaching. You know, I wasn't around that time, but they were still going downtown until the curfew hit. They couldn't do it no more. All right, but even with that being said, because they said when they were going downtown, you could hear a pin drop. When they were teaching, you could hear a pin drop. It was quiet, because you see now when we go downtown Orlando, hey, you hear the background, you hear the sirens and people partying, talking shit, whatever. But 2020, it was none of that, right? And I know a lot of us, because I've known about the truth since 2009. So for the most part, I was pretty much in tune for the most part. I knew the deal for the most part. I knew that eventually this society has to come to an end and your house shot has to come back for the most part. Just a long story short. So even with that being said, when 2020 came, a lot of us, we thought that was it. And it was that, for a lot of us, it was like, oh shit. It was that, oh shit moment. This is it. But hey, when we see those missiles going up, man, that's really going to be the oh shit moment. Because they're going to go up, and they're going to go up. All right, and to the point where eventually they're going to start coming down. It's going to come down. It's going to come down. And hey, us knowing the scriptures, we know that the elect are going to get beamed up, right? But as those missiles are coming down, it's getting closer and closer and closer. It's going to be like, oh damn, like shit. But like I said, it's because it's going to be one of those things that we've been prepped for. Because we get those moments where it's just like, oh man, Lord's not dealing with me. This is probably it. And eventually you get to a mindset to where it's just like, all right, if this is the Lord's will, then so be it. Call Yahweh Shema Shai, right? And like I said earlier, like in our weakest moments where we think that that's it, that's when the Lord shows up. That's when He shows His power. So I imagine, like as those missiles are coming, it's getting closer and closer and closer, and it looks like, man, I might not make it. Damn, it's gonna, like I said earlier, like you just get that feeling like your spirit just leaves your body, like, oh, shit, man, I might not make it. I might not be one of those elect. But as you're in the process of thinking that, hey, you start feeling this translucent, whatever. I'm just speaking as a man. I don't know how it feels, but you just start feeling this feeling like, oh, and your eyes are closed and you probably just praying, and you start feeling this feeling like, oh shit, you start getting lifted up, like, oh shit, this is how I picture it, that's how I picture it, right? Because like I said, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight, man. It's going to be, hey, it's going to be a tight, again, it's the straight gate, because again, and that's the ultimate, because we are in Egypt all over again, all right? And just like ancient Egypt, all right, just like Jake back then, how they destruction passed over them. Well, hey, being that we're in a modern day Egypt, this is going to be the modern day Passover, all right? And as those missiles are coming down, the elect are going to literally, as the elect are going up, the missiles are going to be coming down, and hey, as you're getting beamed up, you might be in the little tractor beam, getting tractor beamed up, and a literal ICB missile might be passing right by you as you're getting beamed up in the tractor beam, or however, man. Going back to the scripture here in Isaiah 43:2, when thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers they shall not overflow thee. All right, because hey, Esau, when he makes his moves, he's known as the basically, like the scriptures talk about how when the floodgates of hell, they shall not prevail. When the floodgates of hell open up, they shall not prevail against us. Because when Esau makes his moves, he's going to make it. It's going to be like rushing waters, man. And rushing waters, man. If you see videos of tsunamis and stuff like that, man, hey, they're unmerciful. Anything in his path, man, they're going to, hey, whatever is in his path of an oncoming tsunami, man, it just gets taken up. No mercy. And that's how Esau's going to come in, like rushing waters, no mercy. He's not sparing the old, the young, none of that, man. All right. So when Esau comes in like rushing waters, hey, when the floodgates of hell open up, the elect are going to be protected. Right? Again, verse 2. When I pass through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burnt, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee. All right. So going through those fires, man, because again, this is going to be a literal passing over. This is going to be a literal, another literal Passover. When the missiles coming down, the elect are going to get beamed up. You see? And that's the spirit, because that's not what I wanted. All right. What I wanted was Isaiah. Isaiah 24, I'll start at verse 14. They shall lift up their voice, they shall sing for the majesty of the Lord, they shall cry aloud from the sea. Verse 15. Wherefore glory ye the Lord in the fires, because like I said before, you know, or maybe I didn't mention it, but our different trials and tribulations now, you know, we get to a level of understanding where it's just like the Lord, you know, hey, and in our trials and tribulations, hey, we you know, going through the fiery furnace, hey, we learn to just glorify Yahweh Shem Shai, because at the end of the day, the Lord is working a marvelous work in us, through us, for us, on, you know, for our benefit. So yeah, it hurts. The chastening, it hurts, but just know and understand what the Lord is doing, you know. You see, but even more so in a literal sense, in the actual fires, right? Because those ICBM missiles, they're going to produce a lot of fires, man. You know, and when you read going into John the Revelator, right? This is what he's seen. A part of the many visions that he's seen was he saw missiles going through the air. You know, he described these missiles the best way that he could. You know, with the things that was most common in his time, in his, you know, in his era. All right, he described these missiles the best that he could. You know, serpents flying through the sky, and you know, things like that. Right? You see, because again, as those missiles, hey, you know, this is gonna be it's gonna be a terrible thing, man. Seeing those missiles, because like I said, it's gonna be one of those things. It's like, oh shit, this is for real. And just people panicking, running everywhere, trying to hide, and you know, get to your local bombing shelters. It's gonna be the whole 9 yards. It's gonna be the real thing, the real deal. But hey, only the elect are gonna get saved. Only the elect are gonna get saved. You know, and that's how, like I said in the beginning, this is our best bet, because if we don't want to get left here, man, we again, weeping and gnashing of teeth. You know, people, man, people, and show you how cold the Lord is. The Lord is going to lead people's spirit. He's going to lead people. He's going to lead their spirit in their body to feel every ounce of that fire, man. These people, they're going to feel every ounce of that fire. There's going to be a horrible, excruciating, painful death. We don't want to be here for that, man. You know, but again, in Isaiah 24:15, wherefore glorify ye the Lord in the fires. So in our trials and tribulations, and when the actual missiles come, all right, when the actual missiles come, you see, because again, the elect are going to get past, they're literally going to pass over this destruction. This is going to be the new Passover. You see, so this is what World War III is going to lead to. All right, and this is what it means. This is what it means for us. You see, versus everyone else, when this topic of World War III, they get scared. You know, they don't want to. They want to stop their ears. They want to, you know, stray away from the subject. Well, nah, man. World War III is going to take place, and in the midst of World War III, it's going to usher in the second coming of Yahweh Shai, which is going to in turn usher in, Lord willing, our deliverance. So this is what World War III is going to usher in, our deliverance. Because when Yahweh Shai returns, hey, this is going to be in the height of World War III. Just when you read in the scriptures, it talks about how, you know, the nations, they're going to be fighting one another. All right, because like I said, right now, you know, we're basically already in World War III, basically. But right now, it's a lot of pushing, shoving. But eventually, it's going to get, blows are going to start getting thrown. All right, it's going to be a full-on kinetic war. Boots on the ground, soldiers, you know, the whole 9 yards. And eventually from there is going to lead to nuclear destruction. And that's the part that people are afraid of when it comes to talks of World War III, the nuclear destruction. Because again, in the minds of these people, they think this is going to be after the dust settles, so to say. We're just going to be living in this post-apocalyptic setting. And nah, man, it's not going to be like that. That's what Esau shows in the movies, right? But nah. World War III is going to usher in our deliverance, Lord willing. And it's going to usher in the kingdom. It's going to usher in Yahushua's second return, which in turn is going to usher in the second coming of, well, the second coming of Yahushua, the deliverance of the redeemed. Yahushua is coming to redeem the elect. And from there, hey, the kingdom is going to be established when the dust settles. When the dust settles, that's when the elect, that's when the kingdom is going to be established. Because again, the elect are going to get beamed up, right? I want to get this real quick. In Romans chapter, I'm sorry, First Peter chapter 4, verse 18. And if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? All right, because real quick, like I said, the righteous shall scarcely be saved, right? Because again, when those missiles are coming down, it's going to look not good. It is, like I said, I can just imagine a lot of brothers and sisters, man, their spirit is, those missiles, man, they're going to be coming down. It's going to be getting closer and closer. And you're going to be hearing it in the background, hitting different places. You might even see the firewall coming to you, man. It's just going to be like, man, damn, like I ain't going to make it. But, hey, as soon as that, because the scriptures describe the nuclear, that firewall is going to be a sweeping agent, all right? The beast of destruction is going to sweep the whole land, right? And even though one of those missiles, missiles are going to be hitting different parts, and I'm just talking about America, all right? Because they are going to be hitting different parts of America, the world, but America specifically is going to get completely destroyed. So, a bulk of the deliverance is going to come from here, America, all right? Because this is where a bulk of the prophets are, the bulk of the elect, So from there, like I said, you're going to be just looking up. We're just going to be looking up, hearing the missiles going off, hitting different parts of America, just going off, boom, boom, boom. We're going to feel the earth shaking, right? Like I said, everyone's going to be running and panicking and just, it's going to be very chaotic, right? And you're just going to be looking at the missiles, man, like, damn, like I ain't making it, because this shit is going to be getting closer and closer and closer. As a firewall is coming, this is going to be like, man, damn, you're going to think you're not going to make it. It's going to be like, you're probably just going to put your head down. But like I said, in that moment, it's going to be, because you see, it's going to be in that moment. I can picture it. I can see it. It's going to be in that moment. What are you going to do? You're going to curse the Most High, right? Or are you just going to, hey, because like I said, things happen to us now. And this is what we're learning now. We're learning now to just, every little thing is just like, whether it be a car accident, your rib that you've been dealing with for 10 years, man. You've done everything for her. You find out she's cheating on you, committing adultery, whatever situation, right? Because like I said, the Lord, every now and then, man, he hits you with a curveball. It's just like, damn, this shit hurts. And every now and then, we get that feeling like, man, the Lord ain't dealing with me, man. I don't know if the Lord's dealing with me. But like I said, it's in those moments, it's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to curse the Most High, or are you just going to keep on trucking? You're going to keep on with it. You're going to keep on believing. This is what we're learning now, because when that time comes, hey, it's really going to be a thing of, man, seeing the missiles come down, seeing the firewall, it's just going to be like, man, what are you going to do in that moment? Are you going to curse the Most High, or are you just going to call Yahweh Most High? I wasn't meant to make it. All right, call Yahweh Most High. All right, because you're gonna, believe it or not, you're gonna have a lot of jigging that day, man. Man, fuck this, curse. They're gonna curse the Most High, but you're gonna have a small amount of individuals, man. In that moment, they're gonna, hey, I wasn't meant to make it. Call Allah Yahweh Most High. Whatever the case may be, because hey, brothers, hey, I can just picture it. It's just like, man, it's been an honor, it's been a pleasure. The Wadi Yahweh Most High for even considering me. And boom, you get delivered. You start feeling but before you even finish your prayer, before you even finish your statement, your sentence or whatever, you start getting beamed up. So it's in those moments, it's going to be one of those things. It's like, what are you going to do? Like going back to the sea hip, Revelation 13, 16, and 17. All right, because it's going to come down to a decision. You're either going to choose Yahweh Shema Shai, or you're not. And I picture it no different when those missiles are coming down, man. I picture it no different. Just, What are you going to do in that moment? You're going to curse the Most High? You're going to believe that, hey, I brought you through all this to bring you to this moment right here just to leave you, just to forsake you? Or you're going to maintain your integrity, maintain your faith? You know, it's going to be one of those things, man. Hey, the Lord's going to be looking like, what are you going to do? You know, this is how I picture it, man. Because, hey, I could just picture it. I just picture it like, man, the Lord ain't dealing with me, man. You know, everyone else is bugging out. And, you know, the cool part about it is, because, again, those of us are the hopeful elect. Those of us, we know. We're in the know. Those of us in the know, we know there's a certain amount of individuals that are going to get beamed up. So with that being said, as the missiles are coming down, we see the firewall approaching closer and closer, fast as fuck too. All right. You know, not only that, but we're going to actually see the tractor beams going up from different places. We're going to be looking around like, oh, damn. You know, we're going to see Jake getting delivered. We're going to see brothers and sisters getting delivered. And you're just going to be looking at yourself like, man, you know, we're going to see those tractor beams going up here, there. And this is going to be like, man, you know, am I going to make it? You know, and you might not see them. You might be looking around. You might not see no more tractor beams. You might think, hey, man, damn, that, you know, the Lord came to save who he was going to save. And it's just like, damn, dog, I ain't going to make it. You know, like, damn, dog, you know, like, man. It just, like I said, it's gonna be one of those. It might be one of those things where you just drop your head and just like, man, I'm not one of the elect. Well, hey, the why the hell about Shema Shah for even considering me, you know, blah blah blah, and boom, you get delivered. You might be the last one to get delivered, man. You see, you got to think about these things, man. We got to meditate on these things. You know, it's cold. It's cold, man. Because like I just read in Rome, 1 Peter 4:7, and if the righteous scarcely be saved. So you see, hey, the elect are barely going to make it. Like Job said, through the skin of thy teeth, man. Roughly paraphrasing. The elect are barely going to make it. It's not going to look good for us. The hopeful elect, man, it's not going to look good for us. But hey, that's why the scriptures say, he that endureth until the end shall be saved. He that shall endure until the end shall be saved. So when you hear certain of us talking about how, hey, listen, until we make it, until we're, you know, make it into the chariot, man, until we're actually getting beamed up, hey, it's going to be a fight until the very end. All right, until we're getting beamed up, until you see yourself on that track to be getting abducted into that chariot, man. Hey, it's going to be a fine line from now until then, you know. You see, man, let me get this, because again, just going back to it, man, circling it back, you know. Hey, this is what World War III, this is what it entails. All right, Lord willing, our deliverance. So when we, you know, talk about World War III, when we bring out the different articles and things of that nature, we get excited because we believe this, we know the end game. We know what it entails. So we don't get frightened like these people, man. They, oh my God, and you know, people don't want to, they don't even want to think about the subject of World War III because they know what it'll lead to, which ultimately it will lead to nuclear destruction. All right, but that's not the end all be all. Because when you, again, I'm gonna read this real quick in Matthew 24. Verse 31, Matthew 24:31, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. Because like I said, in this day is going to be very chaotic. Trumpets blowing. All right, you know, you go into the sixth trumpet, which we're in, pretty much in the sixth trumpet right now, going into the seventh trumpet, which leads to, which really ties into the first trumpet. All right, which ties into Yahushua ultimately. All right, because you know, in this time, like I said, trumpets are going to be blowing, chaos, crying, weeping, and gnashing of teeth, noises, missiles, World War III, right? So it says, again, it says, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. All right, going into the second coming of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, Yahushua, which is going to take place in the midst of World War III. All right, but again, the hopeful elect, we've got none to worry about, because this is only going to usher in our deliverance. And as those elect are getting beamed up, they're going to be witnesses of destruction. And this is when you read about in Revelation, it talks about New Jerusalem coming down, because when the dust settles, that's when the elect, because when it talks about New Jerusalem, Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. So that's when the elect are going to come down out of those chariots after witnessing this nuclear destruction. All right. And from there, the kingdom is going to be established. And it's going to be, you know, everlasting joy, just life evermore, pleasures evermore from there. So this is why we get excited when talking about World War III, because we know what it leads to. We know what it entails. I'm going to read verse 32 real quick. It says, now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender, he putteth forth leaves. You know that summer is nigh. All right, now slack it, because that's not. But since I mentioned it, dealing with the fig trees, because I saw the fig trees, so I might as well just real quick in Isaiah 34. Isaiah 34, in verse 4, it says, and all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. All right, talking about the mushroom clouds, because that's what, you know, those missiles, man, that's what they create, this mushroom effect. And it's going to dissolve, like it talks about in Peter as well, man, the elements being burnt up, right? It says, and all their hosts shall fall down as a leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. Now, if you know anything about a fig tree, or you can look it up, you know, but when figs fall off the tree, you know, it hits the ground with such a force, you know, and it makes this you can hear it. It makes this thud noise. You know, when the fig falls from the tree, when it falls from the leaf or the stem or whatever, it makes this thud noise, you know, because it hits the earth with such force. Because, you know, the fig, you know, obviously it has some weight to it. So when it falls from the tree, it hits the earth with such a force that you can hear it. It makes this thud noise. And that's likened unto the nuclear missiles, man, like I just read, because that's what it's talking about, those missiles in Isaiah 34 and 4. All right, it's comparing the missiles hitting the earth like figs falling from a fig tree. All right, so when those missiles hit the earth, man, they're going to hit the earth with such force, man. You know, like I said, hey, we're going to be here. We're going to be hitting those, you know, missiles going off, hitting the earth, boom, 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 and explosions. We're going to see the firewalls and all that, man. So that's why, hey, man, this is, hey, you know, but nevertheless, this is what it all ties into, man. Going into World War III and what it means for us, our deliverance. And, you know, hey, because that's our best bet. That's our best bet. That's our only bet is Yahushua, hey, Lord willing. That's our only bet. Yahushua being with us. You know, because like I said, a lot of us, we're going to be looking up. Like the scripture say, look up for your salvation draweth near, roughly paraphrasing. You know, hey, we're going to be looking up because this is going to be, again, it's going to be a worldwide event. Yahushua's going to make his second return. Everyone's going to see this, you know. But the difference between these people and us, man, hey, we're just hoping that, hey, we're going to get beamed up, man. We're just hoping that we're going to get beamed up, you know. But nevertheless, hey, as far as World War III, what it entails and what it means for us, you know, Lord willing, this was edifying. So with that, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakodash. Shalom to your hopefully elect, man. You know, Lord willing, this was edifying. And to the next one, Shalom.